Right, so Microsoft have done it again and created a digital twin of Earth, which is way more detailed than the last one. It's much better at deciding what to fill the landscape in with when it doesn't know what's actually there. There's loads of improvements, but the fact that they've published a digital twin of Earth means that there are places you can go here that you wouldn't be able to go to in real life, even if you had all the money in the world, right? I'm talking about places like Sentinel Island, or places like the Darién Gap. I mean, you can go to those places if you want to, but people have been killed doing so. But I think I'm going to start off with the old chestnut of Area 51. The best way to get there is to go to location in free flight and type in homie. Because apparently that's the official name of the airport. Let's take off, shall we? Oh, this is rubbish! This is Area 51, the infamous US government black site where they allegedly keep the remains of a spaceship that crashed in Roswell, New Mexico in the 50s, including the deceased occupants, like in some sort of bacta tank, I don't know. They syringe fluids out of the deceased aliens and introduce them into the local water supply so they can research how alien DNA affects people when it gets into the food chain. And I mean, I'm making that up entirely, but you know, it wouldn't surprise me. The fact that it sounds believable speaks volumes, I think. This is Groom Lake. Now, this is a salt flat. You'd be forgiven for thinking that there's a bunch of stuff here that the US government have made the map people kind of Photoshop out. But this is genuinely what it looks like. There's loads of salt flats about. They're evaporated ancient lakes. It's really flat and it's a really good test bed for weapons, vehicles, aircraft, you name it. Perhaps one of the most disturbing things about Area 51 is how mundane it is. I mean, look at it. This is patently just the workplace of a few thousand people. These are all just barracks buildings and offices. And as a sort of nod to that mundanity, the game just treats this like a normal airstrip, like a normal airport. It's even got a little luggage train here, although the luggage does disappear if you pull out a bit, which may well be something to do with the aliens, I don't know. I mean, how would you describe this? Disappointingly mundane? I mean, yeah, homie, buck your ideas up. I think one of the most terrifying places in the world is the Darién Gap, which is a strip of land that sits between North and South America, between Panama and Colombia. It's very thick with sort of jungly forest, and it is a haven for bandits, people traffickers, drug operations, just all manner of wild animals, impossible terrain. It's essentially the reason why you can't drive from North America to South America, because nobody's been able to build a road that goes through it. So it's very interesting, and a lot of people have died trying to get across it, which is a wee shame. This is La Palma, which is the only sort of major settlement in the Darién Gap. It's a very small place. There's about 4,000 people who live there. We can go and explore it, right? So let's go and have a look. You know, I think it's actually done really well to simulate what these sort of places look like. From the photos, this looks about right. Lots of wooden buildings on stilts. Now, it's quite deceptive, I think, because it looks like a bit of a sun-soaked paradise, but I'm really not sure what tourism is like there. Just look at this thick, dense jungle here. Obviously, this is a beautiful part of planet Earth, and I can understand why people would want to go there just to see it, and for the achievement of having crossed it. It would be like climbing Everest, but people have literally been murdered trying to do it. There are guerrilla groups operating in this dense jungle because it's obviously very easy to hide your movements, and there are some people who have fallen foul of this. So as well as all the criminality, as well as all the difficult terrain, you know, it's very difficult to explain to a paranoid militia group that you are not a spy, you are just a tourist. Because it's a perfectly reasonable question for a militia group to say, well, why on earth would anyone come here for the purpose of tourism? Are you mad? And I'm not making that up, that's literally happened to people. It's terrifying. This is North Sentinel Island, which is a very thickly forested island in the Bay of Bengal in India. It is a protected territory because the people who live here have absolutely no desire whatsoever to have any contact with the outside world, and they make this fact very plain to everyone who tries to visit them. It looks like a beautiful, untouched paradise, and I certainly don't blame the people who live there for not wanting anyone to interfere with it. I also find it, I don't know, hopeful in a way, because this is a place global civilization hasn't touched, hasn't had a chance to strip it for resources, hasn't colonized it. The people here live off the land as they have done for centuries and centuries. And there's something oddly comforting about that, the idea that there is a way of life in the world that has existed unchanged for centuries and will more than likely carry on unchanged for centuries more. This is the last place on earth you would want to crash your wee Cessna and have to get rescued from, because rescue would not be coming. I've got the heebie-jeebies even just flying close to it. Right, let's go somewhere else. One of the most terrifying and most infamous airspaces in the world is the Bermuda Triangle, so let's head there now and see what the crack is. Doesn't seem to be much going on. I think I see what's happened here, right? The Bermuda Triangle is just this vast expanse of coal. So if anything crashes here or goes missing here, you'll never find it, because it'll be like trying to find a bowl of Frosties in a Presbyterian's house. Possibly one of the most chilling places on planet Earth is Poveglia Island, just off the coast of Venice, which has been abandoned for centuries and is internationally renowned as the world's most haunted landmass. And I wonder if Flight Simulator has bothered to accurately model the remains of civilization that still exist on the island. There is an asylum, a church, and various other sort of municipal buildings, and it's actually not looking very promising on that front. It looks rather like North Sentinel Island in terms of there not actually being much there. We've got a bit of a mixed bag here, so there's nothing bespoke, but you can see that the asylum and the church and things are there as a result of the mapping data that's available. It's just treating those elevations as part of the landscape, so it's got trees and stuff growing through them. But that's I guess that's interesting. We've got a little marina down here. Bit eerie, innit? Some parts of this image are photorealistic, and other parts of this image look like a PS1 game that's escaping into reality. So now I want to take you to Mezhgorye. I think I'm saying that right, probably not, in Russia, which is, some people call it Russia's Area 51. It is a closed town. You can't go there unless the Russian government gives you special permission. And as a result of that, there are a lot of rumours about what the town is used for. The general idea is that it is some sort of secret weapons testing facility. There's also other rumours that there are massive underground tunnels, like a huge network of underground bunkers and stuff, capable of housing 60,000 people. So in the event of a nuclear war, this is where a lot of Russia's government and elite will end up living out the, well, let's face it, if that happens, living out the final days of humanity. And again, there is a sort of mundanity to it, that it could be Birmingham. In fact, everywhere we've been today could be Birmingham. I'm pretty sure if I was actually doing this in real life, very haphazardly driving a wee Cessna over one of the most secretive places in the entire Russian Federation, I would have been shot down by now. Or at least somebody would be on the blower telling me to get the hell out of there. How beautiful. Look at that. What a nice shot. Let's stop messing about. Let's go to the big one. I'd love to go to Pyongyang. I know 2 people who've done it, and I know why they did it, because, like, it's fascinating, right? But there is a part of me that's a little bit uneasy about that, because it's sort of like brutal dictatorship safari you're on. I don't know. But I do understand why you would want to go there. I do, I get it. Okay, so I'm flying my wee Cessna over the capital of North Korea, which I've always thought looks like a very beautiful city from a distance, which is obviously what they want to project. Although, you know, it looks pretty in the sun. Even Dundee looks nice in the sunshine. So this is one of the most famous landmarks in North Korea. This is the Rungrano 1st of May Stadium, and it is beautifully designed, and it was built in response to South Korea hosting the Olympics, and the North Korean regime basically wanted to promote itself as a legitimate state and show itself capable of hosting international events, which it has done, being welcoming to people from the outside world, which sort of runs counter to a lot of their kind of policy goals in other places. There's a lot of weird stuff going on here, but it has hosted foreign leaders, it has hosted international sporting events. Korea's equivalent of WrestleMania, I think, has been here. And it's such an important landmark, obviously, that there is a very detailed and clearly very bespoke version of it in Flight Sim 2024. And you can tell this isn't just the mapping software making guesses. Like, artists have gone in and recreated this building. There are a lot of landmarks in Pyongyang that just aren't here. For example, there's this other stadium here that is clearly just the satellite photo mapped onto the elevation here, and you can contrast that with the highly detailed stadium right behind it. So there's a real mixed bag here. This is meant to be North Korea's equivalent of the Arc de Triomphe, and the mapping data has replaced it with the DVLA in Swansea. Fine, okay, you know, it's never going to be perfect. But there's something missing, and it is the biggest building in the country. Okay, so this is supposed to be where the Ryugyong Hotel is. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, I definitely am. But it is an enormous pyramid-shaped structure that towers over the rest of the city. It's by far the largest thing, I think, in the country even. And you can see it. You can see a photograph on it mapped onto the ground texture, because this is clearly based on aerial and satellite photographs. But the actual building does not have a bespoke model. And what I think is particularly interesting here is, I'm not entirely sure how it works, but it seems that when Microsoft Flight Simulator's kind of terrain engine knows that there is a building supposed to be there but doesn't know exactly what it is, it will try and place something appropriate. So that's why you often find things like Korea's Arc de Triomphe being replaced by the DVLA. Why you often find a lone skyscraper in the middle of nowhere, because it knows there's a building there but it doesn't know what it is, so it makes a best guess, and sometimes those guesses turn out to be not very correct. It hasn't even attempted to guess anything here. This would seem to be a massive oversight, but then they've got this very highly detailed version of the 1st of May Stadium over there, so someone's obviously talking to somebody. But what a fascinating place. And I think it does count as one of the world's most forbidden places, and possibly the most strange one, because over 2 million people live there and work there and spend their entire lives there. And once again, it could be Birmingham. Anyway, thank you for joining me on this whistle-stop tour of some of the world's most forbidden places. There are obviously loads that I have failed to cover, but I'm really interested in seeing more of how Flight Simulator handles this sort of stuff. So If you want to drop in the comments any places that come to mind, then please do give me a shout, because they have really improved the mapping software. Now, it was incredible in Flight Simulator 2020, but in 2024 the level of detail is just vastly improved, and the fact that you can very easily just take a camera down to street level. I mean, you can even park the Cessna. There's no like plane damage in this, so you can I mean, let's just do it right. You can just slam the plane down and whoa, right? You can just slam the plane down in the middle of nowhere and get out and just walk around. Like you're just walking around in the middle of Cheltenham like it's Skyrim or something. And look, yeah, I mean it's rubbish. I mean, you're not gonna mistake this for Grand Theft Auto or anything. But you know, considering that this stuff is actually meant to be seen from thousands and thousands of feet in the air, it holds up pretty well at street level, I have to say, and I just think it's incredible. I'm gonna explore Cheltenham for a bit. I'll see you later.